Thank you guys all so much for joining us, standing room only. Thank you to everyone in the back who trekked all the way here in the snow to see fashion icon Donatella Versace.
Wow.
Oh my God. So can we first give a huge round of applause for Donatella for being here?
Thank you. Yes.
Everyone is so excited. So first, let's talk a little bit about Versace and Saks. Tracy talked a little bit about it. Can you tell us a little bit about your partnership with Saks and how you guys have worked together historically?
Well, for me personally, Saks is New York. Since I was a young girl in university, I remember my first trip in New York, and the first store I went to was Saks. Saks is iconic, so is Versace. So I think it's a perfect combination.
Let's talk a little bit about tribute. I see a lot of tribute in the
Yeah.
audience. Like everyone's representing. I see scarves, I see dresses. Tell us about how you came up with the idea to do this tribute collection. And I also want to hear about the Instagram kind of like when
Oh
you
my
broke
gosh.
Instagram with this moment.
After 20 years of Jenny passing, I thought it was about time to do an homage to my brother. It has been difficult for me because emotionally, of course, it was a very special moment in the 90s with Gianni before he passed away. I guess I found the courage to go back to the archives and revisit everything Gianni did, which, if you think about, in the 90s, what Gianni did was extraordinarily brave. It was breaking barriers. It was making new rules in fashion. It was daring. He had a lot of courage. All the kind of personality we all should have today, should be able to fight for. Gianni fought for his fashion. Was risky, was different, but was about empowering women since the 90s. So I thought that kind of thinking, empowering women, is very today. So it was very appropriate to do the show. And as much to Gianni, as much to all the women in the world.
I love seeing the little girl in the audience who's also watching.
She's amazing. Look at her.
I like her style. She has her sparkle
And the
crossbody.
bounce, yeah.
She's mixing prints. It's very good. I'm into it. Tell me a little bit about that moment you went into the archives and you came up with the idea for this. How did you decide to have that moment with all the supers? And what did you call them and say, I have an idea. We need to have a reuniting moment.
Well, it was exactly like this. I mean, I was thinking what Gianni, if he was alive, would want to see today. And I closed my eyes, he wants to see those girls, again on the runway, gorgeous as they still are. Gianni loved women. And Naomi, Cindy, Elena, all those girls have strong, strong personality. They became supermodel because they had something to say. And Gianni made them supermodel because he was able to listen to them. So it was a perfect combination between the designer and the respect he has for the woman. I have to say Gianni really helped create the supermodels. And we all love Gianni, and Gianni loved them. So I try, I call Naomi first, of course, Naomi Campbell, my best friend. I said, Naomi, let's do this.
You have to call Naomi first, always.
Yeah, first
yes.
Naomi. And Naomi called the other one, and I called Cindy, and Kaya Gerber was doing the first show on the runway. And for me, it was very special after 20 years to have Cindy Crawford and her daughter in the same runway. It was really a special moment, very emotional for all of us. So this is how it starts, And then once we all say yes, I need to make a difference between the younger supermodel and the iconic supermodel. So what better than the metal mesh? I always had this picture in my mind, this image of Richard Avedon did for Gianni with all these girls, photographed in the metal mesh in all these clothes. It was exactly the same girl. So that's where the idea started. And the best thing was that all the cast of the show, except for them, they didn't know this girl were in the show. So we did the show, did the rehearsal, and nobody knew until the last moment. In fact, the girl did the finale, they came backstage, and then one by one, Naomi, Helena, Cindy, Carla, Bruni, they walked by them. I went to take position behind the tent, You had to see everybody was crying, clapping backstage. It was so good to see the respect we have for this iconic girl. It was a special, special moment. I didn't know it was going to break Instagram, but it did, right?
Basically, the moment that happened, how many of you guys like screamed like a baby girl when that happened? Like literally you could hear everyone go, "Oh my God," like in the office. And I think that was the day I had my son. Like it was
really?
like, yeah, I couldn't go. And I literally remember thinking like, oh, like I was like giving birth and I was like, man, I really missed out on Versace this season. Like, what a show to miss. But it was worth it, guys. It was worth it.
The thing I liked the most about the show was the happiness. It was not nostalgic. Nobody was like, oh my God, sad. Everybody was happy, full of joy. It was a celebration of women, for the women all over the world. And I really felt that day, all of us were stronger.
Yeah. And you definitely, that was like a really big Instagram moment. And you were very new to Instagram, actually.
Actually, you introduced me to Instagram when I came to see you.
Yeah. Donatella
The last
came
thing in my mind was, to open an account on Instagram. Yeah. But we did it in one moment.
I maybe convinced Donatella to join. I don't know, but I think that was a good thing. We need more Donatella in our lives. So everyone who's not following Donatella, please follow her. It's amazing and iconic. So I remember when you came, Donatella came and visited us at Facebook, Instagram headquarters.
Yes.
And, we were like, Instagram. And you were like, yes, I'll do it. And I remember one of the things you said, you were like, okay, I really want to be good at it. And like, that kind of ability to share and kind of share behind the scenes, I think has been really resonating with your audience. But tell us, like, Audrey is on your Instagram. Tell us a little bit about Audrey.
She's my dog. She doesn't want to be called a dog, but she's a dog. She's my dog. She thinks she's a model. She's always with me, at rehearsal, at show. She sits next to me, looks at the model, the fittings, and she she has an opinion on everybody. This is what, from her eyes. And she's very selective. I'm much more, generous and real than she is. She's
How do you know if she likes something?
She barks. Or she doesn't bark.
She barks. And then how do you know if she doesn't like something?
She doesn't like, she turns her head.
Oh, she turns her head.
And I'm not joking, she's like this.
Wow.
She grew up, she was a little, 2 months old, around all these models always, I think she understands a bit by now. And but what's special about her, that she loves the camera. Yes. She understands when the camera is following her and she pauses. Yeah.
How do you use Instagram to show a different side of yourself?
Well, it's not a different side of myself. It's about showing myself for the first time. The thing I like about Instagram is giving the possibility to really show who I am. Many people have this idea of me like a cold person, distant, like non-accessible. I'm very accessible. I'm very normal. I like to have a good time to discuss with everybody, exchange of opinion, and. Finally, through Instagram, all the comments, the people writing back to me, I was so happy. I'm so happy. I'm so into. I mean, maybe a bit too much into now. I need to go back to my work more.
Do you read your comments that people leave for you?
Some of them. Some I read, some I read them.
I always feel.
I always ask for the bad one.
You like.
I don't know if I'm not too many, but they don't tell me too many bad ones.
I feel like people have a lot of the comments I've read that people have left for you are about empowerment.
Yes.
And how you're a role model for them. How do you balance? I mean, and I think every woman gets asked this question, and I think you kind of just have to do it. But like mother, CEO, designer, like how do you find balance? Or not CEO, but like mother, kind of like like businesswoman.
But I make a hard time for my CEO every day. So.
Yeah. There's someone sweating in the back row back there. Sorry. But how do you balance it all, and how do you find balance and take care of yourself? Well,
I think the word balance is a big word for a woman who works, like you, like me, most of you. It's about priority. I mean, you have to prioritize your family, of course. I mean, you have to make sure I have whatever they need. That's very important. I grew up in a very close family. Johnny and my brothers, we were very close. And that helped me a lot growing up and feel sure about myself and, and fighting for what I believe. It's not always easy. Doesn't happen all the time. But I think you can make it happen, You can make it happen. And work is my life. I mean, I don't even call work. For me, it's a pleasure, though. It's a privilege to work in fashion and to be surrounded from so many interesting people, which I keep learning every day, something new. Like today, with you, all of you here.
What advice would you give for the young women in the audience who want to work in fashion or want to study design? Like, what advice would you give for a young entrepreneur who wants to?
Well, you have to fight for what you believe. Don't try to be somebody else. Try to be yourself. Even if, nobody's very sure about yourself when you're young in the beginning of your career. But what I learned from my brother, he liked a certain kind of woman and a certain kind of fashion. He fight for that. And he took risk. He was not always like it, but he accept that. He accept like not everybody can like the same thing, but he fought for what he liked and succeed. So it's about fighting, giving all yourself to this kind of work and succeeding. Yeah, you have to be strong and fight all the time.
And you have mentioned the word courage and bravery and
Yes.
fighting for what you believe in. How did you find that confidence? Like, is that new for you, or were you naturally very confident
I
always?
think I didn't have any choice in my life. At one point, in my life, I have to be like that. Especially after what happened to Gianni, I have all the company and decide what to do. Go ahead, stop. And stop was never in my mind. It was always going ahead and continue this brand, keep this brand alive. But of course, to do that, you have to make choices. You have to be strong. You have to be sure and confident. Even if I wasn't 100% confident, I make believe I was for the people around me. So they gave me the strength to go ahead.
So fake it until you make
A
it.
little bit, yeah.
I believe in that. I believe
It
in
can
that.
always be,
I mean, people don't know if you're not like really like if you
No,
can
they don't.
pretend you are, they'll believe it too.
You can pretend I'm sure. Well, not sometimes, but
And fashion is about make believe and
yes,
fantasy.
fantasy. It's about a dream. It's still about dreaming. It's still about putting yourself in another dimension. And I think that's good. To be too real all the time, 100%, is not that fun.
And so we're in New York City, which is the place of make believe and fun.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing? And we're here at Saks, flagship on
This
Fifth
is
Avenue.
the first store I was in my life in New York. Was Saks, yes.
Did you buy anything? Or
Oh,
do
I bought a lot actually with my brother
Word.
money.
Yeah.
I used my brother money. I was want to get, what did you do today?
Your brother said, "What did you
I
do?"
go, what do you spend? I was a Saks. You told me to go, so.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite thing about coming to New York? Like what do you love about New York?
I love everything. I love the clash of culture. I love the different people, and I love the energy of this city. I'm a very energetic person myself, and New York never stops. So do I. So we agree.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Donatella. Please, everyone, give a
Thank you.
huge
Thank
round
you
of
for coming
applause.
tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Eva. Thank you.
Have a great night, everyone.